Hi, good morning, Juliet, Monique, Riley, and Shane. Uh, I like this a lot, what you did, because you did it really naturally. It came across really naturally. I'm not sure if you scripted this, but even if you did, I like the fact that you threw all those scripts away and now it comes across much more naturally. Of course, this is going to be a, um, a real bargaining situation because there are many alternatives. You can walk away from this without really suffering a lot of problems with relationships, although you would like, of course, to create a good relationship. You can always come back to this dealer later on, and this will be great, and that often helps you also to get some concessions if they can give you concessions. Anyway, there are also opportunity when you know you're into bargaining, which which you can use in that book of mine on persuasion. Lots of opportunities, lots of little tricks you can play here without really antagonizing the other side. So let's look at this. I'm just going to
Today's
forward a little
recorded
bit.
negotiation will be about the story of me buying my car a few years ago. Within this negotiation, two team members are going to act on behalf of the car dealership, and the other two will act as myself and my friend. So I will be acting as me. Ryley will be my friend coming along to the dealership with me, and Juliet and Monique will be the car dealers in the negotiation. So with that, anything else being said, let's go and jump right in. So. Hello, I'm here to check out the blue Nissan Sentra.
All right, let's go out to the lot and check it out.
Could you tell me a little more of what we're looking for?
I'm looking to buy a new.
We're just browsing. We'll see what deals we can find.
Well, if it's deals you're looking for, this is the best. It was a lease, so it's barely driven. It has less than 15,000 miles.
That's great. Also, I have a trade-in with a Kelley Blue Book value of $800 that I won't need anymore if I do decide to buy a new car.
Oh, do you have your keys? I will check it out.
Just remember that the Kelley Blue Book value is worth at least $800, maybe even more.
Would you like to take a look at the paperwork?
Okay, all right. I like it now. All the issues are out of the way. All the problem definition, or most of it, is out of the way. In other words, you also sort of anchored your positions, not very clearly in terms of price, but it's kind of there because typically Juliet and Monique are playing pretty well. They ask a lot of questions. What really do you want? And she starts off, Juliet, with a very good response here by already saying, look, this is only got 50,000 miles, and this is a great value, and you know, you are getting something very special here. And Monique is asking very good questions here because, you know, she wants to keep her options open. Okay, just remember also, if you go in as two people, this is a very great opportunity to play little games and tricks like the flinch and some of the others. But the best one, if you are two, possibly will be a good man, bad man act here. In other words, Riley could have been the bad guy, and he could say, when you get to the price, he could say, look, I think this is too much. And then, but he says that to your friend, to his friend, he says that to Shane. He does not say it to the others. He said it to Shane openly. He said in front of them, Shane, I think this is too much. I think we can get a better deal somewhere else. And Shane goes back to him and he argues with him and he says, look, let's here, I think this is a very flexible approach by Juliet and Monique. I'm sure they can be flexible and they can still help us maybe to get closer to our target price, so as to force them to, and then wait and say, don't you agree, Juliet, so that you can force them into making a concession. Let's hear if that kind of thing plays out further on.
Sure. So speaking of which, I noticed that the price online was 14,000. Unfortunately, it's a little out of my price range. My budget is around 1,100. Although I could do just a little bit more if it was the perfect car.
Okay, that's quite a good anchor. 11,000. Maybe I can move a little on that. That's not a bad way to start. All right. So let's see.
Well, see what we can do. We don't.
Right. If she says, see what we can do, it says that she can perhaps get pretty close to your 11,000. She's not shocked at all. Body language is extremely important in buying and selling. Watch the bad body language of the salesperson and you know, and surprise, as I know the other video I showed you, surprise only lasts 1 second. If they are not surprised by your 11,000, you will see it and they are not surprised. So it's quite within their range. All right. And if they act surprised, it will only last a second, but they're not surprised. So you have to watch people very carefully here, and you'll know whether you're within or without the range.
Won't budget much from the list price in this case, since it's less than a year old and was previously a lease. So maybe I would say we could bring it down to 13,000 if you buy today.
Okay. Okay. Now she comes with 13,000, and she's waiting. Now it's important how Juliet is also playing her role with Monique here. She can do the same in terms of a good and bad act, a good cop, bad cop. She can say, well, that's coming down quite a lot, you know, and then she would say, but look, we have to do something special for these special people or something like that. All right. Don't you agree? And then get an agreement from the other side.
Are you sure you can't even budge even a little bit? I researched this car beforehand, and it isn't quite worth 14,000. Probably closer to 12,000. We also don't want to forget about that trade-in.
Yeah, here I would come a little stronger, Ryley, but just remember my technique. Go and argue with Shane, not with them. Say, Shane, I think this is too high. I think we should do some more shopping around. And then Shane could have said to you back and say, look, I think maybe they can still throw in a few things or move a little bit from 13, and the gap between us is going to become smaller. It's already smaller. It's now 2,000. We started at 3,000. Now 2,000. I'm sure with a little bit more, we can get closer to each other.
Okay, looking here at the paperwork, I think that we can make 12,000 work for you since you're good with the $700 for the trade-in.
Okay, it's interesting that she still came down without you pushing too much here, which is surprising. $1,000 on a car is quite a big jump. I just think it would have been a little bit more real if you did it in the form of a good cop, bad cop thing, and then ask Juliet, don't you agree, Juliet, that you can get much closer to 11? I'm sure Juliet can get closer and ask her, don't you agree? So that but she did it anyway, so it's fine.
All right, you know what? You've got a deal. I'll take the car.
All right, I'll get everything signed and worked up for you.
Okay, just remember, there's something else which is also described in my textbook somewhere, and that is if you afterwards now add the small things to this deal. In other words, now what about, look, we've moved that far down. We moved, or up in this case, we moved from 11, we only wanted to pay 11, now we're at 12. Is there anything else you can do for us just to make us happy? Or maybe Ryley could have said that to you without even talking to him directly, but in front of them. And you say, well, then sure, they would have said, what would you like? That's what you want. The moment they say, what would you like? You say, well, you know, I don't like the mats, the car mats. I don't like, you know, maybe something in the car, something you would never have had if you didn't ask for it. If you don't ask, you don't get. So just add the small things on top of 11,000. These small things are going to feel like nothing, and they can often throw some extras in to this deal. Maybe tagging, they can do tag prices, cost. There's a lot of extras in motor car deals. There's sometimes commission they charge in certain dealership, extra on top of the price. Lots of things here in the United States. You know these things. I'm sure you've done your research. You can now go and ask for these things, which are $400 here, $200, $300, but that could now also make a big difference in the final price that you're going to pay. Maybe even interest rate. If you're going to finance this, I mean, you don't have to pay your cash. Look, it's nice to pay cash, but you can also finance this, and then you can even negotiate the interest rates, which could also make a big difference. Okay, anyway, guys, I like it. Thanks a lot, and I enjoyed it. I hope you also get something from my feedback.